In 2009, Steve Jobs was lying unconscious in a hospital after a liver transplant. The doctor looked at Steve and said, "Wear this oxygen mask, Steve." No, its design is not right. Steve Jobs asked his caretakers to bring 5 new options for the design of the mask so that he could choose the best option from them. It may sound a bit strange to us, but he used to take such decisions in his daily life, and this quality eventually became the reason for his death. Because when the doctors asked him for operations, he delayed the operation, which led to his death. And before dying, Steve Jobs' last words were, "Oh wow, oh wow, oh wow." Steve Paul Jobs was born on 24th of February, 1955 in San Francisco, U.S. His real name was Abdul Latif Janda. His biological mother, who actually gave birth to him, was a Swiss-German-American student who had graduated from the University of Wisconsin. It was here that he met Abdul Fattah al-Janda, who they belonged to a rich Arab family of Syria. Since both of them were not married, they decided to give their upcoming child to someone else for adoption. But both of them wanted that whoever their child goes to should be educated at least up to graduation, so that their son could be brought up and educated well. A couple named Paul and Clara Jobs decided to adopt Abdul, i.e. Steve Jobs. Both of them were not graduates themselves, but they assured the parents that they would surely send Abdul to college. After adopting Abdul, the child was named Steve Jobs by his parents. When Steve Jobs was young, he came to know that he had been adopted. Actually, what happened was that when Steve Jobs was 6 years old, a girl living in their neighborhood told him that she had adopted him. Steve was playing with a girl. That little girl, while playing with Steve, suddenly said, "Steve, you know these are not your real parents and you have been adopted." Hearing this, Steve ran away crying to his home. Then his parents explained to him that, of course, this is the truth. But they both loved Steve very much. Later, Steve's real parents also got married and they gave birth to Steve's sister, Mona Simpson. These two siblings were always very close. Steve was so angry with his real father that he did not see his real father in his whole life. He just met his real mother once and thanked her that she gave birth to Steve and did not have to do birth again. Steve was of a very curious nature since childhood. His biographer, Walter I. Saxon, writes that due to this habit of his, 2 big accidents happened to him in childhood. Once he put a metal pin in an electric socket, due to which his hand got completely burned. And the second thing would be the limit when he ate poison to see what happens to it, due to which he was taken to the emergency room and he narrowly escaped after some time. His new family shifted from San Francisco to California. When his schooling started there, he found the classes very boring. To overcome this boredom, he used to do some or the other thing in the school. Once he released a snake in his class, and once he exploded a bomb under his teacher's table. Due to these antics, he was repeatedly sent back home from school, but his parents did not scold him even once. Steve later admitted that this school taught a very stupid syllabus, due to which he never felt like studying. Now, when Steve Jobs was in the 4th standard, his teacher noticed that the syllabus was very easy for Steve Jobs, so he suggested to Steve's parents that Steve should be admitted in the 6th standard by skipping 2 classes instead of the 4th class. Initially, Steve's parents did not accept this thing, but finally Steve was admitted in the 6th standard in another school. Now Steve is studying in the 6th class in another school. He used to fight a lot with the children because he was young there. Once Steve Jobs got so tired that he came home and told his parents that, "Please take me out of school or else I will never go there." So his school life was going on like this, but because he was growing up in Silicon Valley, due to which many engineers lived around him. One of those engineers was named Larry Lang, who later became a very special mentor of Steve Jobs. Once Larry showed Steve a very interesting experiment. He took a carbon microphone, a battery, and a speaker and put it in his car and started speaking something in the mic, and this sound was coming very loudly in the speaker. Now, Steve Jobs' father had told Steve that this work cannot be done without an electronic amplifier, but Larry's system was working without electricity. Steve Jobs ran home and argued with his father on this matter. When his father did not agree, Steve took his father to Larry's house and proved to his dad that the sound could be produced even without an amplifier. Larry was very impressed, and in the coming years, Larry taught Steve a lot about electronics. For example, once he also introduced Steve to health kits. These were kits that contained detailed instructions for making items like television, receivers, and radio equipment. These kits not only taught Steve how these things work, but also convinced young Steve that even things that look like television and radio are actually easy and can be understood. Well, as soon as Steve turned 17, He was put in college because he had promised Steve's actual parents. Now, Steve's parents found a college, which was as expensive as Stanford, in which Steve's parents were investing their lifelong savings, and Steve Jobs did not like this at all. Steve Jobs tells in his Stanford commencement speech that I did not know then